Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about 2012. And this movie is directed by Roland Emmerich, and it came out in 2009, not 2012, believe it or not. And I've seen this movie once before. I don't really remember much about it when I first watched it in terms of like my experience. I didn't really have fond memories of it for the most part. I thought the trailers for it looked interesting, and that's about it. And rewatching it, I thought it was pretty bad, very boring. The plot of this movie is really stupid and doesn't really make any sense. I could forgive that if the movie had some self awareness to it, but it's a very serious movie. It's like a world ending film, obviously, with it being 2012. Looking back on it now, it is kind of funny to laugh at it because we thought the world was going to end in 2012. And I kid you not, there were people in my class back in 2012 who were asking about that, like asking my science teacher, asking, do you think the world's going to end like on this day? And they were like trying to give out a concrete answer as best as they could. And yeah, no real answer. People were kind of paranoid, and yeah, like that's the only funny memory I have of this concept. But aside from that, there's nothing really to it. It was a thing for sure. But going back to the movie, this movie stars John Cusack, and he just plays a guy who is a divorced father. And the first scene we get of him is him being late, because that's never been done before in a movie, a character being late. And he doesn't get introduced into the movie until like 10 minutes in. I know that seems like a weird criticism, but it does feel like you're getting bombarded with like a whole bunch of side characters and like no real focus. And then John Cusack comes into play, and we get to focus on him, and you know, he's not the worst part of the movie, like as far as his performance goes. The child actors were kind of annoying. I do feel as though there were too many characters in this movie, and I did mention that this movie didn't really feel self aware, and it was very serious. There were some attempts at comedy, but I felt as though they fell flat and didn't really land for me. The one good thing I will say about this movie is that Woody Harrelson had good screen presence. Even though he's in the movie for like 5 minutes, he's the most entertaining part of the movie for me. The characters in this movie are also pretty stupid, generally speaking, and they don't use their brains for some reason, and everyone's just an idiot who just does one thing in the dumbest way possible and just like, yep, you're probably gonna die. And every single action scene in this movie is basically the same, where you have characters who are being chased by like a world ending threat, like an earthquake or a volcano or an explosion, or whatever. And they manage to just get out of it with their lives. And yeah, like that's the entire structure of the action scenes for the most part. It's very repetitive, very dull. There was an antagonist character, kind of, who was just very cold and like it looks at everything in numbers, and he was kind of annoying and unnecessary. There was some really stupid forced drama in this film that did not work for me whatsoever. There was also a scene in this movie where an earthquake happens and it destroys a supermarket. And yeah, you see the aftermath of like when that happened on a TV, and the reporter says the funniest thing in the world. And it says something like, somehow no one was hurt, or luckily no one was hurt, when like the entire supermarket store is destroyed. Not one person was killed, injured, or anything, or at least physically. Like, what? There were some moments where I did laugh at the film for sure, but that's not the whole movie, and because of that, it made it pretty dull. And most of the movie is just characters talking, and it's just not interesting. They're not having any interesting conversations, sorry. And it's just characters talking about boring science things or things that should be, I guess, considered human things to do, and talking about their emotions and yeah, that's pretty much all of the dialogue in the movie. I also did not like the music for this movie. It was just very bland and just didn't do anything for me. Everything that you see in this movie is basically just a ripoff of a better movie or something that was done better in another movie, and this movie just does it worse. There was nothing particularly memorable about this movie. Even with the destruction scenes, there was nothing fun about any of it. It was basically just one chase scene, and I was not entertained in the slightest. I was pretty bored throughout most of it, and I will not be watching this movie again. So skip this movie if you ever come across it. And with all that being said, I'm going to give 2012 a 2 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of 2012, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for The Abyss, directed by James Cameron. A movie that I have not seen yet, believe it or not, because I was waiting for an HD copy, and this thing took 2 weeks to finally get here. And I have it. I'm excited to check it out, and I'm hoping it's good. And also, I should mention one last thing. I will be talking about the special edition that this version comes with, because that's the version that people say is the one to watch, because it explains everything, apparently. So that's what's going to be happening. The Abyss, the special edition, that's almost 3 hours long. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.